Okay, math application students. Today we're going to talk about arithmetic series, defined limits. So what does that mean? So in a previous lesson, we learned that to find an arithmetic progression, to find a particular term, we can use the first term, we can use the common difference to figure out a particular term in a sequence. When there's these different terms separated by commas, right? Okay. Then we started talking about, so we're going to apply that, and we're going to apply what we know about arithmetic series and sums arithmetic series. So if I want to figure out the sum of an arithmetic series, I can use the first term plus the last term and multiply this by the number of terms divided by 2. This is if I know the first term and if I know the very last term. Now, if I don't know the last term, but I know the common difference, the difference between each term, that's d, right? Then I can figure out the sum that way. So let's do an example with some numbers in just a minute. So S sub n is the total of all the terms added together. N is the number of terms that we're going to be adding together. U sub 1 is the very first term. U sub n is the last term. D is the common difference, the difference between each term. To get to the next one, we have to add d, right? Okay. And then on math space, instead of U sub 1, you might be seeing the letter A instead of U sub 1, and then T sub n instead of U sub n. So let's just do some examples, and then you'll be able to do your math space homework. Okay. So find the sum of the first 18 terms. Okay, so we need to think about, do I know the last term? No, I don't. So if I look at the two formulas we just got, I can't use this first formula, but I can use the next one. N is the number of terms, is 18 terms, right? U sub 1 is the first one, which is 5. D is the common difference. Well, what's the common difference? Well, what do I add to get 9 from 5? Plus 4, right? What do I add to get the next one? Plus 4. So we know that U sub 1 is 5, D is 4, N is 18 because that's the number of terms we're going to add, and I'm going to use that second formula, which is S sub n equals n over 2 U sub 1 plus n minus 1 times d. Okay. Be careful. A lot of students in the past forget these parentheses, and they make an order operation. Boo-boo. So don't do that. All right, let's plug in the 5 in for U sub 1, 4 in for D, n in for 18, and then we'll get our answer. So S sub 1 equals 18 over 2 times 2 times 5 plus 18 minus 1 times 4. Okay. So 18 divided by 2 is 9. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 17 times 4. Okay. Then we're going to get, well, what's 17 times 4? 68. So 9 times 78. And we get 702. Okay, and I'm going to write a little 18 here because it's the sum of the first 18 terms. And we used 18 in place of n. Okay, let's do a similar question and then we'll move on. Okay, find the sum of the first 15 terms. Now in this case, it's not going up, is it? It's going down. So how much is it going down? 37 minus 34, it's going down 3. Down 3. So in this case, u sub 1 is 37, d is negative 3, and n equals 15. Okay, same formula, right? So let's write it down just for our notes. N over 2 to u sub 1 plus n minus 1 times d. All right, plug the stuff in. S sub 15 equals 15 over 2 times 2 times 37 plus 15 minus 1 times negative 3. Okay, be careful with the parentheses, right? Okay. 2 times 37 is 74. 15 divided by 2 is 7.5. Okay, so we've got 14 times negative 3 is going to give me negative 42. And all right, 74 minus 42 is going to give me 32. And multiply 32 times 7.5, and we get 240. Now, if I had accidentally gotten some decimal, like a 0.5 decimal, you would know that couldn't make any sense because each time we're subtracting an integer, and we have integers here, so it would be impossible to have something that was not an integer. So just think about that for a moment, and we'll move on to the next one. All right, find the sum of the first 10 terms, given the first term is 8 and the last term is 4.5. So when we look at our formulas again, now on the IB test you're going to have all these formulas on a sheet, and you need to be really comfortable with the location and what formulas you're going to use. So since I know the first term and the last one, I'm going to use this formula here. S sub n equals n over 2 u sub 1 plus u sub n. All right, so n is 10. So we've got 10 over 2. The first term is 8. The 10th term is 4.5. All right, let's do it. So we get 5 and 8 plus 4.5 is going to give me 12.5 times 5. And so the sum of the first 10 terms is going to be 62.5. Okay. All right, let's do another one. Find the sum of the first 50 terms. Wow, that's a lot of terms. Given t sub n equals 2. Okay, this is a formula to get every single term. I could use either of these formulas, but you know the first one is easiest. So let's use the first formula. Okay, I can talk about how we could use this one in just a minute, but let's use the first formula. S sub n equals n over 2 u sub 1 plus u sub n, right? All right. So to find the first term, t sub 1, I'm going to plug in 1 in for n. So I've got 2 times 1, which is equal to 2. Okay. Now the 50th term, t sub 50, I'm going to plug in, guess what? 50 in place for n. So we got 2 times 50, that's 100. All right. So let's put it in this formula. So S sub 50, the first 50 terms, 50 over 2. first term is 2. The 50th term is 100. All right. 50 divided by 2 is 25 times 102. Times 25, that's going to give me 2,550. Okay. Make sure you write this carefully into your notes. Next problem. If you need more time, hit pause or replay, of course, right? Okay, the first term is negative 10. The 8th term is 25. Find the common difference. How am I going to do this? Okay, to figure out the common difference, do I know the sum? No, so I have to go back to our earlier notes, and we know the 8th term is 25. So the 8th term, that means I'm going to use n equals 8, and we're going to use the formula u sub n equals u sub 1 plus n minus 1 times d. D is what we're trying to find. Okay. If n is 8 and u sub 8 is 25 and u sub 1 is negative 10. Okay, so what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to replace u sub n with 25. I'm going to replace n with 8. I'm going to replace u sub 1 with negative 10. And then the only thing missing is d. So let's do this. 25 equals negative 10 plus 8 minus 1 times d. Let's simplify this. 25 equals negative 10 plus 7d. Add 10 on both sides, we get 35 equals 7d. And then divide both sides by 7, and we get d is equal to 5. So if this is, the first term is negative 10, the next one we add 5, the next one we add 5, the next one we add 5. Okay? Now, find the sum of the first 15 terms. Now that I've found out d, given this information, I need to, let's see, I don't know the last term, do I? So I need to use the second formula, don't I? Okay, so let's write down our given information. We know u sub 1 is negative 10. We know that n, we're adding the first 15 terms. And we know that d is 5 now. So we're using the second formula, right? S sub n equals n over 2 times 2 u sub 1 plus n minus 1 d. Okay, so you may want to have a reference sheet to look at as you do all of these problems, just like I'm using this as a reference sheet. Okay, let's plug it in. N is 15, right? U sub 1 is negative 10, and d is 5. Let's do this. Okay. S sub 15 equals 15 over 2 times 2 times negative 10 plus 15 minus 1 times 5. Okay, so simplify this some more. We get 7.5 times negative 20 plus 14 times 5, right? Okay. 14 times 5 is 70. All right. Negative 20 plus 70 is going to give me 50. and then multiply those together, and I get 375. And that is the sum of the first 15 terms. Okay, so that's what you need to do your homework. And basically, you look at your formulas, figure out what variables you have, what is missing, and that will help you choose which formula to use. If you're using the sum, you're going to be using this. If you're trying to figure out D, or if you're trying to figure out the nth term, this is not the sum, but this is a term, then you would use this one. All right, good luck with your assignment. Email me if you have questions. Watch the video again if you need help.